I think what's going to happen is there's going to be use cases where digital assets like XRP and Bitcoin make sense, where volatility is either an advantage or not a disadvantage. And there'll be other cases where a sort of more stable token like RLUSD or some other stablecoin will make more sense, where either the volatility is a disadvantage or where the recipient doesn't want to deal with the complexity of having a volatile asset. So I think you're going to see enterprise use cases in everything from trade finance to tokenized real world assets. Essentially, almost everything is a payment. Like a loan is a payment, right? If you borrow money from me, I pay it to you and you pay me back. Tokenized securities, if you're buying Apple stock, you're spending money to buy that Apple stock. And when you sell it, there's always a payment on the other side. And so I think one use case for stablecoins will be as a payment asset where the recipient doesn't want to deal with the volatility and where the recipient just wants to sort of have a fixed amount of payment. And it's especially going to be interesting for applications where the endpoint recipient of the funds is not somebody who's sort of interested in participating in the digital asset space. Like you're buying groceries. Your grocery store owner might be interested in participating in the digital asset space, but probably they just want to receive dollars. And so it allows the endpoints to not have the complexity. How useful will be sort of inside the internals and the machinery, I think collateral will be one case. So like if you use a digital asset for collateral, you have to significantly over collateralize. Like if you're going to use XRP as collateral, it could have in value tomorrow. It probably won't, but it could. And if you're using it as collateral, the person who's accepting the collateral probably doesn't want to take that risk. So it's a little awkward to use digital assets for collateral unless if you have a lot of it and it's a tax optimization, yeah. But we're not going to rebuild the new financial system on tax optimizations for people who have lots of digital assets, right? Like for collateral, like you're going to want more stable assets. And one of the interesting things from Ripple's point of view is like prime brokerages like Hidden Road, which we're in the process of acquiring, like have a lot of collateral. And so looking at very efficient ways to use stablecoins like RLUSD to have that collateral easier to move around and more liquid and so on.
What up? Welcome to my shop. This is part of the road to the crypto Milli. This is where I will be leaving. I feel kind of soon. St. George Barbershop. There's the wall. Legendary wall. Robert. Got another St. George board. Got the St. George dragon right there. Touching it. Yeah. St. George egg. Dragon egg. Giant's gnome. You know you gotta have this bull and bear. The bull is facing the door because we are bullish. But this is what it is. As an entrepreneur, I'm in my shop and I'm waiting on clients, and it's just not, it used to get me hyped, and then it's not really serving its purpose for me in my soul. You know, I don't think I'm supposed to be here just sitting, even if I was like fully booked every single day. Even when I am fully booked, I still don't feel the full fulfillment of that. And what got me, the day everything changed, I don't know, it was like 4 or 5 years ago, is when I read the book by Robert Kiyosaki, Business, the 21st Century. And he explains the financial quadrant and how, you know, there's 4. You are one of those, whether you know or understand it, but there's 4 quadrants financially. So if you're working, you're either employed, self-employed, business owner, or investor. And each one, you know, employee and self-employed are on one side of a tax bracket, and then business owner and investor are on the right side. And I sat there reading it and I stared at that and I was like, what do I really want to be? What do I want to do and why? You know, I've already went through the employee stage, the self-employed, business owner. And but I sat there and I was like, I definitely want to be full-time investor. And the reason being, for myself, what I came to the conclusion was, you can be an employee and make a lot of money still. You can make millions of dollars still being an employee. You can make millions of dollars still being self-employed. Obviously, business owner, investor. But I like to do things to where it kind of all depends on me and what I'm doing, and I don't really like to rely on others for that. So whether that be maintaining clientele, will I still want to, when I hit my crypto Milli, go into my success within crypto, I will still want to do businesses like that, but I want to get myself more into where I am full-time investor and I can just focus on that. But what was I saying? You do all that, yada yada. But I want to fully only rely on myself. And that's kind of the main thing. I don't want to rely on a client paying me. I don't want to rely on a business and having overhead and making sure I got to maintain overhead all the time. When you become an investor, it's really just you strategically planning out how you purchase something and then figure out how to get the return from it, which a lot of that is strategy that you build in your own brain and figure out how to accomplish. So, and that just sounds way better, because now I gotta sit here, I gotta wait for a client to pay me. If I had barbers in here, I'd have to rely on them to want to stay in here, keep their clientele going, pay me rent every week. All that's great and all that's good, but I years ago I came to that conclusion, and noticing in general, I manifested everything I have and where I'm at. So understanding that I've already accomplished that through my thoughts. I had that thought prior to me having the thought of a barbershop that I did receive, but then when I got the barbershop was probably the moment that I said, cool, I got it, but I don't want it. So now that next step is coming. I've already had the thoughts, I've already had the vision, I've already felt it, and that's heading my way. So I don't know, just documenting that part of me being in the shop, already having it, and not really wanting it anymore, because I think there's a lot more to life and I'd like to experience that. And you can save up money and keep on coming back here to make the money and then go do whatever, but that is not the way I want to do it. And we keep on getting bullish news on crypto. It's nonstop. Trump is, trying to get crypto into your 401ks, which is something I've already known about for a while, that was going to most likely happen. 401ks are cool, but if you invest in the product before it even gets there, I don't really want to have somebody else holding my money, and they kind of hold that just to make money off of you, and so then they still hold your money. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because you can do it yourself. You can start, it's investing in the S&P 500 for the most part, and you can just have a reoccurring buy yourself off of Robinhood and do essentially what they're doing and not pay as many fees, or you could set it up in a Roth and then not have to pay taxes on it. You're gonna have to pay taxes on it. Some of them you don't, whatever. There's just things that I don't really like about 401ks. Do I think it's bad, especially if you're not gonna go and do it yourself? Then no, then go ahead. But you should learn about it and how to do it. But that's huge news. And then you're also waiting. If they come out and tell you that they're not taxing crypto, that's a really big deal. And I think that's what's going to be next. Still waiting on the SEC news. We got this entire month to go through right now. So as news keeps on coming out, it's not bearish news. It's all good stuff. So I think you should definitely be trying to, figure out how much you could put in every week into something. They got the ETFs, they got the XXRP 2x leverage, they got the ETH 2x leverage. You can get some of those as well. The thing with those, like, you could buy options on them, but there's not that much volume or people really looking at them yet, which at the same time, to me, kind of says like maybe you should just grab some, because there's probably going to be a lot in the future. Riot is another good one to look into. That is a Bitcoin mining company. I would definitely check them out. I forget what their all-time high was, but they're trading around like $6 or something now, and their all-time high was significantly higher. And I think Bitcoin mining is going to be a much bigger deal, because a lot of people are going to use it while they're powering whatever companies they have and generating money at the same time. So definitely look into Riot. There's Mara as well. I just own Riot. Yeah.
Is this full moon predicting the bottom of the market? Looks dope.
Brazilian. So I have been waiting years for this moment. The Ripple versus SEC case is now over. Now, what does that mean? It means that all the ETF filings are definitely going to go through and allowed to go through, because now they're not going against the SEC in court. There's no legal shadow over them if they're a commodity or security or whatever. And now all the banking, licensing, and banking institutions that have been filing with them or trying to work with them is now 100% possible and allowed. I don't think people are ready. All the marketing, they have so much money, and we have not even seen them do any marketing yet. And knowing that they have a lot of money, that's how they're being able to purchase BNY Mellon, Hidden Road, all these other companies. They're probably going to try to purchase more. That's why they were even trying to purchase Circle. So it sounds like they're going to be trying to purchase a lot more companies and businesses under Ripple. Man, it's a bigger deal than people think. And depending on who you're talking to, there's certain things you can explain as to why it's such a big deal. And then there's certain things that people go about where it makes it hard for other people to reason with. But This is a big day. And whoever sees this with the little bit of views that I get on here, I hope you're paying attention to what I'm saying, because it's a really big deal. And yeah, I don't know. We're about to see what's going to happen. I think XRP is going to flip Bitcoin. Road to a crypto Milli.
And a side note, who would think that these three objects, some gum and 2 protein bars, will come out to like $12. It's like 4 pop for nothing. Inflation's real, people.
This is worth more than $1. It's not ticking. It's not clocking. This is more than $1. This is more than $1. Your dollar cannot even afford a pack of gum. Look up the DXY. Look up the Dixie chart. And look at when, how in the 70s, when we came off the gold standard, how it has come down and has never come back again. Look at that chart and then understand that is your physical dollar. That is what you save, spend your money with. And that's what you are saving in your bank. That's what you are holding so dearly to when it is losing 10% of value every year. Just look at that chart and be like, wow. Every year it's losing value. It has never reached its all-time high since the 70s. So, whatever. Just throwing some more shit in this vlog. I keep on adding to this vlog, to this video. But as you can see, this is Bitcoin. This is a falling wedge. This is where we've been testing. It is starting to break above resistance line. RSI is turning. This is all on the day, the daily. RSI is flipping, but also flipping back down, so who knows. But the fact that it is tapping over is a good sign. Now, if it holds over, that is even more bullish. Now, if we come back and fall through resistance, boom, we'll probably come back down here and test support. Cool, we got some time. It's all right, we got a full month. But it would be cool if this did decide to break out now and then come back up here and test its old all-time high. But time will tell. That's what we gotta wait to see. And to add one more, because XRP, if this is breaking away from following Bitcoin trend, it would be pretty insane that it starts to make its own lead, and it is kind of doing more already. And this almost looks like confirmation that it's breaking out. You got your one day, now your next day. Can it drop, of course, and retest that again? Yeah, but it is looking pretty good on XRP.